Hello, welcome. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. While we're waiting, I'm going to put a poll up. If you guys have a second and could answer that, that would be fantastic.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome again. For those of you guys just joining us, I'm Cindy Bowers. I'm Stage's COO. I have Megan Gordon with me. She is our Director of Customer Success. I have posted a poll up. If you guys have a second and could answer it, that would be amazing. That'll just help us to tailor the presentation to meet your needs. And we will get started in just about 3 minutes here. We have our fantastic customer success manager, Cesare Berry, joining us too. She and I will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions during the presentation, we welcome them. Please don't hesitate to put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A box, and we'll make sure we get to them. We'll also leave some time at the end for questions as well. And I'm going to put in the chat a link to a form. If your district wants you to record your attendance, if you could just fill out this form, that'll be a great way for us to be able to keep track of who's here and report it back to your districts if they need that information. So I'm going to drop that in the chat, and you can put it either now, fill it out now or later. We'll also be sending it out to you in a follow-up email. We will get started in just about 2 minutes. Thank you all for joining us today.
Hi, Allie and Katie from Littleton. Ooh, excuse me, my voice. Ooh, Littleton people are the best. We'll get started in just about a minute, and hopefully the whatever frog that is in my throat will clear out. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and jump on in. I know we'll have people that will slowly trickle in, and that's okay because we are recording this. So we'll be able to send out the recording to everyone that has registered. Um, Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Cindy already introduced me. My name is Megan, and I am the Director of Customer Success. And I am super excited to be able to spend the next 30 minutes with you, kind of going over the new ARIS online platform. So in this session, we're going to go over how to add students, how to upload assessment data, and kind of the initial steps for after assessment data. Um, and giving you a really quick overview. Um, First thing I want to point out is that if you have had access to the ARIS Resource Hub last year, you used to go to learn.stageslearning.com. You will very quickly notice that that is not the case this year. We have updated our URL, and I'm actually going to put it in the Zoom chat. Just put it in there. It is now app.lbo.stageslearning.com. So if you try to log in with your email address and whatever password that was sent to you or whatever password you set it to into the learn.stageslearning.com, it's going to say, hey, nope, that doesn't match. And there's a reason for that. Um, so if your district has already rostered, that means they've sent in a roster. They'll let us know which educators or paraprofessionals or support specialists need access. You should have received a registration email that comes from our from Stages Learning, and it will have a temporary password that you can use to log in, and then you'll be able to reset your password. Um, you can reset your password by clicking on Forgot Your Password. It'll send you a reset link, and you'll be able to log in with no issues after you've reset it. Once you log in, you're going to see a lot of information. Your home screen is going to have a lot of different buttons and a different navigational field. First thing you're going to notice is that there is an active classroom section right up here in the upper left. Part of rostering, part of the rostering process is your administrators will attach you to classrooms. So you maybe have an AM session or a PM session, or maybe you are a support specialist that supports multiple classrooms. Um, any class that your administrator puts on, attaches to your name in the roster should show up in this drop-down menu. I'm only attached to one class, so that's why you only see one. But you might see several classes listed there, and maybe you have a really, really long list. Maybe you're a campus or district administrator and you have a ton of classes. You can absolutely use that search function to search for a particular class. This is where you're going to go whenever you need to um, roster students for a class, or if you need to navigate or toggle between classes to be able to view different data, this is where you're going to go. You're going to go over here and click on the desired class. Once you've done that, the first time you log in, you're going to want to roster some kiddos. And so to do that, you'll click on this learners piece right here, learners button in the left navigation menu. And you'll even notice on this main screen, it says, hey, enter your learner profiles. It's letting you know you need to do it. The first time you click the learner's profile, or excuse me, the learner's button, I guess, for lack of a better term, it's going to ask you to, hey, start adding a learner. It's super easy to add a learner in your dashboard. The very first time you do it, you're going to click Set Up Learner. It's going to pull up here. You can type in the first name, last name. Maybe you just want to do initials. Maybe you want to do first name, last initial. There's really no set format for it, but you do at least have to have at least a first name or something in the first name column. You can type that in and click Save. If you need to add more than one student, which I'm sure a lot of you will, you'll click on this Add Learner button right up here at the top. It's going to pop up a new one, and you can type in your additional student and make sure to click Save. Every time you need to add a new learner, you're going to click on this Add Learner button to create a new little tab on, it kind of looks like a file folder on this folder, so you can see every student that you've added to your classroom. Now, say you've added your initial learners, you're going through things, and then all of a sudden you get a new student and you need to add another learner. Or maybe you have a student move away and you need to remove them from your dashboard. You will go to the Learners tab and click on it. You'll see now that you have learners added, it defaults to the first student you've rostered. You're going to click on this little drop-down menu caret, and you're going to click on Add New Learner again. Once you're here, it's the same kind of steps as before. You click on Add New Learner. You can add your new learner in and hit Save. Or alternatively, if you need to delete a student, you can click on the student's name and you'll see a big red delete button. Sorry, Cindy, I am deleting you. Um, and it'll just ask you to confirm. So you can't accidentally delete a student. It is going to ask, like, are you sure? So you can always come in and delete a student. Once you've uploaded all of your students, or excuse me, added them all to your dashboard, um, the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to look at a student's learner profile. So right now it's defaulting to Megan. It's defaulting to my profile. You're going to see several different tabs. It will default to like the learner profile homepage, which is the dashboard. And so here's where you're going to get a quick snapshot of any to-dos that you might have. You'll also see skills tracking over time. Right now, there's no assessments uploaded, which is why there's no graph. I will show you what that looks like once you do upload an assessment. But you also have a section here where if there have been any notes typed in, this will give you like the cumulative running records of the notes that have been added into that learner's profile. The profile tab within here is where you can input a student's likes and dislikes. So maybe you've run the first lesson, the pairing and accepting reinforcers lesson with your student. Here is where you can enter in the things they like and don't like, and you can save that. You have your notes section, which is excellent for if maybe you have another person that's working with a student as well. So maybe it's you as a teacher and a paraprofessional, or maybe you have a support specialist that pulls out and might be running ARIS lessons with a student. All of you can keep your notes in here and everyone will be able to see those notes. So that way, maybe Megan is really struggling in a lesson today because her attention's not there, or maybe something happened, maybe there was a fire alarm during the middle of your time with her and so you didn't get to go get as far into a lesson as you would have liked. You can add all those notes here and everybody that has access to Megan as a learner will be able to see those notes and add to them. You also have this to-do part right over here. It's just expands all of the to-dos, and you will see to-dos pop up throughout the year. And eventually, you'll be able to add your own to-dos, which is a super nice feature to keep yourself on track. I know I love me a to-do list and checking things off. It makes me feel accomplished and productive. Um, what I like is, or what I would do once I've added my students to the dashboard and maybe I've already assessed students, I'm going to go to this assessment tab right here. This is where you can upload your students' assessment scores. And there are two ways to do that. No matter which way you do, you're going to start by clicking on this green Add Assessment button over here on the right-hand side. And you'll see that there are two ways you can upload this data. You can, as a teacher, type it in manually. So maybe you printed out the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet and you did it all paper pencil and now you want to put it into the computer. You can click type in manually. It's going to pull up the data sheet and you can come in here and actually type scores. If they have mastered it, you can click on the box here and it'll automatically fill in a 4. And you guys are actually the first group I can show this to because it came out yesterday. If you are not sure what to score a student, you can click on the skill and we have our rubric built in. So you can actually read through what would qualify or what milestones might need to be, or what milestones would qualify for a score within the 0 to 4 scale. And you can click on it and scroll down and click next. You could just live in this space and just look at the rubric for every skill and fill it out that way. Or maybe you only needed it for one. You could use it, click on it, and then exit out of it, and you'll see that it saves it right there. Super exciting. Another good thing about manually adding the data into the platform is that you have the ability to save it as a draft because we know this assessment can take a while. And you might not have all 202 skills assessed within the first day or week. You can put in the progress that you have. So let's just fill in some scores. And then once you've input the data you already have, you can click Save and Close. And what this lets you know is that, hey, your progress is going to be saved as a draft. You can go back in and finish it later. And when it's saved as a draft, it does not impact any lesson recommendations that your student may already have because you have incomplete data for it at this point. So forgive me as I move my own face over. My Zoom thing is right in the way. Um, Once you've hit saved, it'll pop up here in the assessment history. You can see this one is saved as a draft. To go back into it and add more data, you can click open and it'll pull it back up. The other way that you can add assessment data, click on add assessment, we do have a downloadable template. Maybe you are a spreadsheet educator. I lived in a spreadsheet. I loved a spreadsheet. You have the ability to download our template, which does come as a Google Sheet. So it'll ask you to make a copy. And I will apologize up front. And I realized yesterday I apologized way too many times. So I will apologize once today. Sometimes my internet runs a little bit slow when I am sharing my screen on Zoom. I promise it runs way faster than what it might show on my end. Um, so you click copy, it makes a copy of the spreadsheet for you. And just like the when you manually add it, you can use the drop down and you can select the scores here that you want for the student. There is a caveat for using the template like this and excuse me, and uploading it from the spreadsheet. Right now, our program, our platform will only accept Excel spreadsheets to be uploaded. That's okay. You just have one extra step to do here. And it is okay if you don't have Excel on your computer. I know a lot of school districts don't have that Microsoft suite. That's okay because you should still be able to go to File and Download. You can still download a copy of the what you filled out because you want to fill it out first. You can download a copy of what you filled out as an Excel file, and then you'll be able to upload it into your dashboard. So I have an example here that I'm going to upload because we only have 17 more minutes together and I don't want to waste everyone's time by filling that out and saving it. So notice how it's an Excel spreadsheet. I can click on it and it's going to confirm, hey, this is what you're trying to bring in. Is that right? This is great because maybe you have multiple assessments done. Maybe it's later in the year and you've got 3 or 4 assessments. Anything that's on that spreadsheet is going to pull up and you have the option to toggle on or toggle off which assessments you want to bring in. This one only has one assessment, so of course I want to bring it in. I'll click Save Selected Assessments. There we go. It has populated in my assessment history. And one thing you'll notice is that since I've submitted an assessment, there is a clone button. This is great for if you have manually input and manually typed in your assessment. Rather than when it's time to assess your student again, rather than having to start a new one and type in all of the scores for all of the skills again, that takes time. You can clone the assessment and it's going to create a new date. It's going to make a new assessment and it's going to automatically bring in all of those scores from the last assessment. So that way you only have to go in and update the ones that you've noticed changes in. Saves you a lot of time. Highly recommend it. um, and forgive me, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this other student's data really quickly. So that way, when we move on in just a few minutes, it'll already be there. Um, one thing that you'll want to do after you've uploaded your assessments is you're going to want to go to this planning tab. So we have assessment here, and then you have planning right after it. This is where you will find any lesson recommendations that our platform has identified based off of your students' individual assessment data. We know ARIS is designed to meet the students where they're at, and no two students have the exact same learning pathway. And so their recommendations are going to be different. This planning tab is going to show you all 7 of our content categories, and you're going to see a green icon with like a paper and a plus sign for any section that has a lesson recommendation. So I'm going to go in here. I see which subcategories have lesson recommendations, and I can click on it and see exactly what skills are recommended. Please keep in mind, these are recommendations, but you know your students best and you're the one in the driver's seat. So you have the ability to toggle off lessons. Maybe you realize, and I'll go to matching, sure. Maybe you realize that, let's say 14 was a recommended lesson, but they're not ready for that. Haley is not ready for that. As a teacher, I can toggle that off and I can toggle on a lesson that I think is more appropriate for where they're at. Or maybe after assessing and you have started a lesson with the student and you realize that it might be too high or maybe too low for them, you can come in, toggle off that recommendation and toggle on one that you think is more at their current level. You will do this through all of the content categories for each student. You want to make sure each student has their up-to-date recommendations and pathway forward based off of what you know about them. Once you've done that for a student, you're going to want to go to this lessons tab. This just shows you in a really quick spot or location what lessons you have toggled on to work on with that student. So for Haley, I can see all of the lessons that I have ready to go up on deck that I can work with her. Does that mean I'm going to do all of these lessons all at once? Absolutely not. I like to be a long-term planner. And so maybe I have it to where these are the things I'm going to work on this grading period or this month. Or maybe there's some things that I'm going to work on, but my paraprofessional might work on something else. You'll have all of these here. And this will take you directly to the lesson folder. So you can click on the lesson itself. Boop, 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 and it's going to pull you directly to the lesson folder. You'll notice things are hyperlinked, so you can go to the data sheet. You can click on it, download it, and print it. Same with the home communication sheet. Maybe you're working on this and you realize, oh, Haley's not ready for waiting, but I see this prerequisite of showing ready to learn. Maybe I need to go to that. This is hyperlinked. I can click on it and go back to lesson 5 and pull that up just to make sure that that's really what my student needs and I can move forward from there. You'll also notice, and I will come back to that graph, I told you I would. You'll also see an IEP goals tab. And what this does is this will pull up any lessons that you have toggled on, recommended or not. And you can go in and you can actually select a goal that or milestone that you might be working on with that student. Right now, we only include the IEP goals that are also part of the ARIS lesson. However, we are actively working on creating a part where you can create a custom goal. So you'll be able to click on it and type in that student's very specific goal through the district, or maybe you and the parent came up with some kind of goal. You can click on custom goal and type that in. So that will be coming. Let me go back to the dashboard tab because I'd mentioned a graph earlier. Every time you upload an assessment for a student, it is going to graph it for you. So throughout the year, you can see in one spot growth between assessments. And you'll see that it's kind of color coded as well. Every single content category will be chunked out within this graph. So you can hover over this orange and its approaches to learning. This is my first assessment of the year for this student, and I see that they have 11 mastered skills for approaches to learning at the beginning of the year. For language, they've mastered none. So maybe in 3 months or 2 months or whenever you reassess and you upload that new graph or new assessment, you'll see a new bar graph and you'll be able to see just how much progress is made between content categories. Super exciting. We know we love some data. Once you've uploaded every student's assessment data, you've planned, you've toggled on and off their lessons, you've added IEP goals, I recommend going to this classroom piece right over here on the left navigation menu. Here, you're going to see student data in two different ways. Or not data, excuse me, but yeah, student lessons in two different ways. It's going to default to student view. So you're going to see a card for each student and a list of all the lessons that you have toggled on or that are recommended. Personally, I recommend the lesson view. What this does is that it groups your students and where they're at and who's working on what skill for each skill. This is great because I can see what students are working on the same skill. So for planning purposes, maybe Megan and Haley, this is something that they are higher up or farther along in the lesson progression. I can totally have one of my paraprofessionals or an RBT or another member of the support staff that might come in and work during a small group or center time or maybe do push in or pull out. I can have that person work with Megan and Haley on this skill. And that frees me up to work more one-on-one with a student on another skill that may be lower in the lesson progression and might need a little more support. Super helpful. And every time you upload a new assessment, and every time you adjust the lesson recommendations or the lessons you've toggled on and off, this will update too. So it'll look like this for now, but once you upload more data, it will always change. So that way you have up-to-date recommendations and up-to-date views. Are there any questions so far? I know I am going a bajillion miles a minute. We
I don't
good,
think we've
Chet?
got any questions for you in the chat,
Perfect. Okay. Then
but do
I'm just
feel
going to
free if you've got questions to share them out, and we'd be happy to answer them.
Yes, absolutely. I know I talk a lot, but I also know how to listen and answer questions too, I promise. So we've gone through the Learners tab. We've gone through the classroom piece. I do want to highlight really quickly that we do have this lessons piece where maybe you have a student that does better with digital lessons, like they don't do well with physical cards. You do have the ability to assign pre-made lessons. Please know that this is not meant to be done independently. There are no student logins. This is meant to be done with you and the student at a small, one-on-one or at a table because you want to be able to provide the prompting and the additional support as needed. But we do have a ton of pre-made lessons that you can select. So you can search by target words, number of trials. You can search by number of distractors. And what this does is that it's going to show you what the word you're focusing on, how many distractors, how many trials there are. You can click on it and you can see exactly what each of the questions are going to be. And if that's appropriate for your student, you can click this assign button right here and select the students that you want to assign it to. We also have, maybe you haven't found a lesson that is quite right for you and your student. You do have the ability to create lessons, and once you've created them, you can share them with other educators. So I have a couple of school districts that I know have like split up the word list, and one teacher's worked on lessons for like 10 words, and another teacher worked on 10 words. And the whole team each focused on a certain number of words, and then they shared them with each other. So you did the work of creating 10 lessons, but you end up with 40, 50 lessons in return. Super helpful. And then that way you can use the technology piece. This is also great for students who maybe are used to using some kind of communication device or are used to using tech. This is a great option. Last but not least, actually, it's not last, there's a ton in here, but the last that I'm going to have time to go over with you today is I do want to highlight that all of our resources that we previously had in the Resource Hub are still available. So up here on the top navigation menu, you're going to see ARIS Resource Hub. You can absolutely click on it and you're going to find everything that we had previously. You'll be able to download and print digital versions of all of our lesson folders. We have all of our printable tools like our reproducible activity sheets, our home communication sheets. You'll find our translated tools. You'll be able to print out all of our language builder cards. So maybe you're using one physically and it gets soggy or ripped. Rather than going without it, you can come in and print out a copy. Our behavior management tools are here as well. We also still have our demos on demand. So if you click on Academy up here, you'll be able to click on demos on demand and see all of our videos. So if you're wanting to see a certain part of the lesson progression, you can click on that. We have videos that show the basics of prompting and reinforcement. All of the goodies from before are still on here. It might look a little different. It might be formatted a little different. So please take the time to like click through and get reacclimated. But we still have everything that you could possibly need or want ready for you at the click of a button or the, I don't know, the tap of a key on your keyboard. I know I went through a lot. We have 4 minutes left. If you have any questions or if there's any questions in the chat, let's shout them out.
We don't have any questions at this time, Megan.
Perfect. Well, if you do, because I know I threw a lot at you, I 100% know this. If you do think of questions, please know that on your home screen, my email address is right here. So if you think of questions or if you notice any kind of like typos or glitches, or maybe you just have a suggestion or feedback like, hey, this would be a really cool feature to have, please shoot them my way. Send me an email, absolutely. And then myself and Cesare are your customer success team. So we are here to help answer any of these questions. Cesare, I'm not sure if you're going to put your email in the chat. Oops, she already
Yep,
did.
I
She's
just
the
did.
best.
And no, and actually, Megan, if you don't mind if I interrupt you, we actually
Yeah,
did have a question come in from
sure.
Carmen. So she said, "Hello, how do you know when the assigning, do you know when the assigning targets to lessons for data tracking will be live?"
Just to make sure I'm understanding, are we talking about um, I guess I need a little more clarification on the assigning targets for lessons. Carmen, I'm going to send you an email after this just to get some more color on what it is you're asking because I don't want to misspeak. Um, I see, can the online lessons? Okay, perfect, Carmen. I will reach out to you after this call. And then Grace, can the online lessons be found in the in-person lessons that we have? So are you talking about the online lesson folders? Yes, those folders are they're the digital versions of the physical folders that you have in your kit. So if you already have those beautiful green tubs that weigh a lot, you will have our lesson boxes. Those are in there. And so those are the same exact lessons. Okay, perfect. I'm glad that answered your question. I might have missed whether a single teacher can purchase for her CES students and the cost. Um, I will find your contact information and I can connect you with one of our sales representatives to get for cost and pricing and all of that good stuff, Latoya, if that's okay with you, because I don't have that offhand. I am not the money person. I'm not going to lie.
If you want to put, Latoya, your email address and your school district in the chat, we'll make sure the right person reaches out to you.
Katie, what is the best way to start this program if you have not received any training at all? If you have access to this online piece, Katie, I recommend going to Academy on the top and clicking on courses. You'll see we have some courses that I think will be really beneficial for you, especially for getting started. Course 1 and Course 2 would be my recommendations for you to watch. The modules are short. I think the longest one I think is like 15 minutes, but watch through those. And then please send me an email. You have my email address on the main screen. When you're done, I'm happy to connect with you and kind of help you navigate the getting started piece. Like that is what Cesare and I are here for. Any other questions? I know we are at time. I love all the questions. Perfect, Raina. They watched course 2 today and everything made sense. Beautiful.
Love to hear that.
Awesome. Well, I hope you all have a great evening. Please do not hesitate to reach out to Cesare or myself if you have any questions. We are here to help you be comfortable and confident using ARIS, and we are here with you every step of the way. I hope you all have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks, y'all.
you.